Although it is tempting to just jump in and start a paper, organizing information and outlining can help make the writing process a lot smoother. In this lesson, we will discuss the importance of organization and outlining, how to do it, and how it will improve your writing. Best-selling author Jeffrey Deaver once said, "The outline is 95% of the book, then I sit down and write. And that's the easy part." Organizational skills are used by writers of all sorts and can be applied to a variety of literary assignments. There are many different ways to put information together. For a simplified example, say you had 6 different fruits you need to describe: bananas, apples, grapes, melons, lemons, and raspberries. How would you organize them? You could sort them by color or perhaps taste, depending on what information you would like to focus on. You could even arrange the fruits by what sort of plant they grow on. Each one tells a different story and may serve a different purpose. When applied, these skills will help you have a better idea on how the different ideas in your paper work together, and more specifically, what you're going to say, what order you're going to say it in, what categories your different facts or concepts fit under, and what relationship exists between different thoughts. Having your information in a flexible structure will provide you a location to put new information as you find it, or reorganize if you decide upon a new approach. According to Purdue's online writing lab, before you begin outlining, it is important to determine the purpose of your paper, determine the audience you are writing for, and develop the thesis of your paper. Adequately understanding your assignment prompt as well as the purpose of your paper will help you prepare yourself to meet your teacher's requirements. An understanding of audience helps you determine whether you should be writing formally or casually, in high detail or more general terms. Lastly, developing a clear, encompassing thesis will give your paper direction. Different types of paper will have different structures. In addition, certain ideas may be more complex than others and require more paragraphs to adequately explain. In persuasive papers, it is good to determine beforehand whether there is a problem you are attempting to solve or if there are opposing views that need to be addressed. Alternatively, some essays have a more flexible prompt and have a number of approaches that could work. It is helpful to identify which general structure will help you complete your assignment. After choosing an outline type, it is handy to organize that information you have available. Brainstorming and organizing help you put down on paper everything you might know that would be applicable to your thesis. This might help you realize that you know more than you thought, or that you may need to spend a little more time researching a particular topic. Ordering and labeling may sound confusing at first, but an example of this process has already been covered in this lesson. In the example of organizing different fruit, the specific fruits were ordered into more general categories such as color or taste. Labeling helps you assign ordered groups to locations within the outline you are working on. When you write your paragraphs, you can use subheadings to remember the main idea of each paragraph, which will then let you view the essay structure at a glance. You can delete the headings later. Writing and writing preparation are fluid processes. You may end up tweaking your thesis or structure as you write. Remember, it is much easier to tweak your specific thesis or the structure of how you plan to support it than it is to change directions during or after the writing process. This does not mean that your initial ideas were bad. The whole idea is to make things a lot easier on you later, so that when the time comes to write your paper, everything is laid out for you. Your outline may range from being very simple and general to containing very specific details and information. The point is to have it structured in a way that makes sense and helps you write a well-structured paper. Make sure you have all the details you need and that the structure works for you. By verifying that all of your topics contribute to your thesis and relate to each other, making transitions easier to add in later, your thought process will be clearer and you'll be able to write more efficiently. As long as you feel confident in your outline, you're good to go. Look at this example of an outline. Here, the author is writing a paper on whether the U.S. should use torture in order to help prevent terrorist attacks or other man-caused catastrophes. The general idea is that it is both ineffective and immoral and should be stopped. An underlying theme that can be applied or added to the thesis is that the U.S. is looked to by the world for its example, and that it has an opportunity in this case to be a positive influence. The introduction states the main supporting ideas as well as a thesis. 2 body paragraphs are dedicated to explaining each supporting point from different angles, followed by a consideration of the counter-argument and a conclusion. In this case, the author chose a second persuasive essay structure from before, supporting main points for the thesis and explaining a potential counter-argument. We can see that certain assertions were made that support a main idea, and that paragraphs were dedicated to supporting those assertions. If the assignment had been how to improve catastrophe prevention, or how to set up a better example, then a problem-solution structure would have been appropriate. Here is an example of a problem-solution organization. Notice how it begins with the problem. Some topics might require more development of the problem if it isn't obvious why the problem is truly a problem. In this case, most people understand the drawback to snacking on junk food, so it doesn't need to be developed extensively. Most of this paper will focus on ideas for solving the problem. In the solution section of the paper, the writer presents specific ideas and examples. When this paper is actually written, the writer may choose to add or take away details. Making adjustments is a normal and necessary part of writing. The novelist Mercedes Lackey once said, "I always work from an outline, so I know all the broad events and some of the finer details before I ever begin writing." Proper preparation beforehand helps to reduce the amount of difficulty and struggle later when the task is carried out. Let's briefly review. Outlining is a powerful way to organize your thoughts, research, and main points before you write your paper. Before outlining, determine the purpose of your paper, determine your audience, and develop a thesis. When you outline, brainstorm your ideas, and then organize, order, and label the content. You are on your way to writing a cohesive, effective paper. Thank you for watching. This video has been brought to you by the BYU-Idaho Writing Center.